Hi, my name is Milton, and I'm 20 years old. I'm going to take you through the crazy roller coaster ride that is my life. You'll probably be amazed at how much I've seen in just 20 mere years of my life. I'm surprised that I'm still here to tell you everything. Anyways, let's get started from the very beginning. I was born into the family after 3 girls, and, well, being a boy put me at a disadvantage. How, you ask? My dad wanted another girl. Yeah, kinda ridiculous, I know. But it was what it was. He was obsessed with having girls, even though he had 3 daughters already. And I had to bear the brunt of his crazy obsession. He raised me like a girl. And I know that there's no gender-specific way of raising someone, but the thing with my dad is that he literally treated me as if I were a girl. I was supposed to dress up like a girl, grow my hair out like a girl, and, as my dad put it, even act like a girl. It was all good until I was 3 or 4 years old, because I was in preschool then. But when I was enrolled in actual school, everything was a disaster. My dad used to dress me up in the uniform meant for girls, and needless to say, I was the laughing stock for all my classmates. But luckily that phase passed, and as I entered into adolescence, I was able to protest. I rebelled against Dad and tried to do what I wanted to do. I was young. Too young to go against my father, despite it hurting me. Of course, he used to get mad at me, but man, I was done with his ridiculous obsession of treating me like a girl. Like, what the heck? Did he not see my suffering? Why was he so intent on making a fool out of me? I objected to his wishes, and he didn't react very nicely, obviously. That was the day when my whole family turned against me. My mom supported Dad. Yeah, I wasn't surprised. Not in the slightest. She had been like that ever since I came into this world. I doubted sometimes if she even considered me as her son. As for my sisters, well, somehow they always found it amusing to see me suffer. I think you get the idea now. I was basically unwanted in my family as a boy. I had no idea what I was still doing with them and why I put up with it. But it's not like I had money and could run off. I was still dependent on them. Hold up, did I say dependent? Let me clarify it for you. Even though I was dependent on them, they didn't think much of me. They were fully prepared to make me a failure in life if I didn't conform to their ideals. And they even accomplished it somewhat. I'll tell you how. They enrolled me in a different school than my sisters. The catch here was that the education at my school was horrible compared to the others. The teachers didn't bother coming to the class or came super late, and the administration didn't care. No one cared if the students were skipping classes or failing in their subjects. Everything was chaotic. I was surprised at how the school was still functioning. My parents knew all about this, yet they didn't do anything. They wanted me to go there. They wanted me to have a poor education. If I'd left it up to them, I'm sure I wouldn't even have the knowledge of basic things. But I knew my parents very well, and I also knew what they wanted. And that's why I was ready to turn the tables on them. I started self-studying. My mom didn't have any idea about it. If she did, she would have stopped providing me with the bare minimum resources. I used to lock myself up in my room and study at night when everyone was asleep. It didn't matter that the teachers weren't doing their job properly. I could manage my studies just fine. That's why everyone in my family was shocked when I received very good grades. They were even higher than what my sisters had scored. Mom adopted a new tactic after that and had always tried to engage me in housework, so that I could never get the time to study. Well, she had no idea that I used to study during night hours when nothing could stop me. Now, I know what you must be thinking. Why was my family like that, and what did I ever do to them? Trust me, I used to think the same thing. But over time, I just got used to it, accepting it as my inevitable fate. I was determined to prove them all wrong and become successful in life. It kinda hurt me to see that my sisters were getting everything that I wasn't. They had the world dropped at their feet. They just had to say a word and Mom would give them whatever they wanted. Meanwhile, I was forbidden to demand anything. But as I said, I was determined to change everything. I had to make use of whatever resources I had, even if they were not enough. I had to make do. Anyway, enough of the tragic backstory of my life. It's time I tell you about the time when things started changing in my favor. Yes, it happened, eventually. My hard work and determination finally paid off. In the first year of college, I did some research and made a website for online courses. It was just an attempt, of course. I wasn't really sure of its success, or if it would succeed at all. But to my surprise, it yielded good results. Actually, good is an understatement. It had excellent results. My website became pretty popular in a matter of a few months, mostly because many students didn't have time for their traditional way of learning. Well, you won't believe it. Or maybe you will. I don't control you, but my website was so successful that soon enough I started earning in 6 figures per month. Yeah, it was just like a dream come true. The catch here was that I had to keep this all a secret from my so-called family. They wouldn't even have let me start a website, let alone start earning. I was pretty sure that they wanted me dependent on them for the rest of my life. Why else did my mom go out of her way to try and make me a failure? Well, too bad for her that I ruined all her plans. I kept my mouth shut about my earnings and my website for a few months. I was waiting for the right moment to strike and move out, and that moment came when my dad's business suffered a huge loss. Now, don't call me crazy for this, but in my opinion, he deserved it. First of all, his business was never that good to begin with. We were barely scraping by, and he still used to take out loans and stuff to live a lavish lifestyle. He was thousands of dollars in debt, even then. And secondly, he was extremely lazy. He didn't do anything for his work. Most of the time, he was home either sleeping or tormenting me. So I would say he had it coming. It was just a matter of time. He was so deep in debt now that he got a notice to vacate the home. That means all of us had to leave. Yep. Now my dad had brought us all to the streets. Oh, but it didn't affect me in any way because, as you know, I had already established my own business. Now, this was the moment I was waiting for to reveal everything to them. I had bought a house for myself a few weeks ago, and I didn't waste any time moving there. I told everything about my entrepreneurship to my family. And let's just say, the looks on their faces were priceless. How come we never found out? Because I didn't want you to. We are your parents. You can't keep things from us. I'm an adult and I can make my own decisions. I'm also not a fool, as if I was going to tell you and give you the opportunity to jeopardize them. They were shocked and indignant, of course. How dare I? Their child go against them in their wishes and demands. It's laughable. Milton, you're so smart and hardworking. Yeah, I always knew that you were meant for great things. Well, my young older sister, Penny, wasn't going to stay behind. I remember that she held my hand, something she's never done once. Yes, Milton, I always used to tell Mom and Dad that you will be really successful one day. Did my sisters really think that I was that dumb? How could I forget that they used to watch and laugh every time when Mom and Dad used to torment me? None of them stood up for me, and now that I had money, they were suddenly on my side? Classic move, totally not suspicious. My family had nowhere to go now, and they had no other option but to try and make it up to me so that I could offer them refuge at my house. The thing about that was, I wanted them to suffer, just like I had all those years. I wanted them to know how it felt when no one in the world cared about you. But my conscience didn't allow it. I actually felt bad for them. They were still my family after all, and I couldn't see them on the streets, especially when I had the means to keep them comfortable. Dang my morally correct conscience. And to no surprise, I decided to help my poor family. I welcomed them to my home. I was not on talking terms with them, though. I made it a point to avoid them and do my own stuff. My mom and dad were so ashamed that they couldn't even meet my eyes. Dad picked up some part-time jobs so that he could start to chip away at his debt. As lenient as I wasn't going to pay off his loans and let him get off scot-free. He hadn't really done anything for me after all, besides torturing me and trying to make me something I wasn't. And I had already paid him back for whatever pissant amount he had spent on me during all those years. I didn't want to owe him anything. My mom, on the other hand, was silent for a few days before she came back to her shameless nature. One morning, I woke up to see that she had made breakfast for me. I can make my own breakfast, thanks very much. No, don't be like that. It's my pleasure cooking for you. You don't have to. You won't get anything out of this. Please, Milton, I'm not doing it for anything. You have already done so much for me, from shelter to food to clothes. Oh yeah, this reminds me. I am out of good clothes. I would need to go shopping today, but, My credit card was blocked by the bank. I knew it. She was a gold digger, of course. It was so obvious. She wanted me to give her my card so that she could spend the money on it. Ha! Not today, Satan. Oh, that's too bad, but I spent almost 19 years in rag-like clothes. I'm sure yours aren't that bad. I think you'll survive. I left her where she was. I had classes to attend anyway. And yes, you heard that right. I was still in college. Just because I had started earning doesn't mean I wanted to discontinue my education. I was reasonably wealthy, not stupid. And it was 2 more years before I got my degree, so I could handle that. But yet again, another problem was waiting for me in college. Now that the word about my success and wealth had spread around like wildfire, I suddenly had everyone's attention. The guys wanted to be my friends, and the girls all wanted to date me. It was overwhelming and pretty scary. Like, they all turn to monsters when they find out they have an opportunity to get ahead in life. Why do most people always chase after names and fame? They were all arrogant and self-centered. I couldn't really bother with any of them. I used to avoid people at my college at all costs, but man, I had no idea that my sisters were after me now. Yeah, as shocking as it may or may not sound, my sisters were suddenly really interested in me. And I know it was all because of my money and stuff, but still, they were acting way too sketchy. Here's an example. A girl from my class was sort of trying to hit on me in the campus cafeteria one day. Out of nowhere, Natalie appeared and started yelling at the poor girl. Milton doesn't date, so try your luck somewhere else. What exactly gives you the right to say that to someone? I think she thought it was all just jokes. What was she trying to accomplish? I decided to leave and dashed away from there, but this was not where it ended. Even Penny and Tina were behaving strangely. So I didn't say much to them, but I needed to do something about it because it was getting out of hands now. I knew my family was weird from the get-go. To save myself and to get rid of all the other girls who kept hitting on me, I decided to fake date someone. The best person for this job was the most popular girl in my college, Kristen. Well, you probably think that I was doing wrong by trying to deceive a girl, but let me tell you one thing about Kristen. She was a heartbreaker. She dated guys just for fun, and when she was bored, she dumped them. She did this to one of my friends, and that's how I found out about her. She had been trying to talk to me for a few weeks now, ever since my popularity had suddenly gone up, but I had ignored her until now. Now, I needed her to keep away the other girls and my own sisters. I seized that opportunity. I didn't have to do much. She came to me one day while I was in the cafeteria. She started flirting with me. I had to control everything inside of me not to be rude. So, I just smiled at her, and that was all it took for her to ask me out directly. I said yes, reminding myself that I was doing it for myself. That makes me sound selfish, and maybe it is. But it's not like her dating others and playing with their feelings were any better. Besides, there wasn't any other girl who I genuinely liked and could date. It was better to fake date a heartbreaker. Maybe give them a taste of their own medicine as well. So, Kristen and I started going out, and let me tell you, it was pure torture. She was no less of a gold digger than my mother. She would shamelessly ask me to give her presents and stuff, and I get it. Sometimes a little something doesn't hurt every once in a while, but she was demanding a lot. I had to make excuses every time, because there was no way that I was going to spend my money, especially not on her. The only good thing that came out of this was that girls had stopped approaching me. It was a relief. Even though I had to tolerate Kristen, my sisters were really mad, confused, and shocked to see me dating someone. They even tried to convince me to break up with Kristen a few times. I always shut them up with my life, my business. I can date whoever I like. Stay in your lane. This didn't sit too well with them, of course. At that time, I didn't know that they would go ahead and start plotting against me. There were a few hints here and there, but I didn't pay any attention. I had noticed that they had suddenly gotten friendly with Kristen, and I think they all used to meet with her behind my back. Kristen had suddenly changed her behavior towards me and stopped asking for money and stuff. One day, I was at her house because apparently she needed my help with one of her school subjects. How could I refuse her the one time when she actually wanted to study? Anyway, she took me to her room and I started explaining some concepts and stuff to her. About an hour later, she was hungry and went downstairs to get some food. Kristen had left her phone in the room with me. How do I know? It pinged with a message. I picked it up and was about to take it to her when I actually saw who texted her. It was a message from my dear sister, Natalie. Kristen, just remember to convince him to come to the sleepover. I was super confused. They wanted me at a sleepover party? Just what the heck was going on? And why was Natalie sending such cryptic sounding messages to Kristen? Something was definitely up. I should have known the moment they started getting friendly with each other. I changed my mind and decided not to give the phone back, only to place it where she had left it. And Kristen came back a few moments later. As expected, before I left her house, she begged me to come to Natalie's sleepover party. Where is she doing it? At my house? Please don't say no to this. And if you can, then please join us. Of course I was going to join them. I wanted to know just what they had planned for me. I said yes to her and left. The weekend arrived, and so did the sleepover party. I thought it would be some small affair with a few of my sister's friends, but boy was I wrong. They literally invited all the girls from their classes. They even sent mom and dad away for the night to where God only knows. But the million-dollar question was, why did they want me at the party? I didn't think much of it when I accepted the invitation, but now, realizing that I was the only guy amongst all the girls made me somewhat scared. It was really awkward at first because I didn't know what to do. I didn't talk to any of the girls, and yet they were trying to talk to me as if they had known me for ages. I didn't want to be rude to anyone, so I just sat in the corner with a permanent smile hanging on my face. Soon, Kristen arrived and dragged me right into the middle of the party, which I absolutely despised. I don't even know what I'm doing here. Honestly, I think it's better if I leave. Oh no, you can't leave so soon, Milton. The fun hasn't even started. Yeah, I don't want to be a part of this. You didn't even ask my permission to have this party. But then, all of the girls surrounded me and pushed me to dance. Seriously, it was so embarrassing. I made an excuse to use the bathroom and quite literally ran away from there. I had to think of something, and something fast. And I had to also find out what they were planning for me, before they could do anything. An idea popped into my head, and I was ready to face them off. I went out and got a drink in a totally normal fashion. I knew that my sisters were watching me. I looked like I was drinking a lot, but I actually was just throwing away the drink in the trash can behind the couch. In the same way, I pretended to drink more. A lot more. After some time, I just laid down on the couch and closed my eyes. Natalie and Kristen came up to me and tried to talk to me. But I just slurred my replies and then pretended to pass out. Why they didn't stop me from drinking, I don't know, but it happened. They checked a few times to see if I was conscious or not before they started talking. Now, this was what I wanted, for them to spill everything in front of me. I guess we can't do what we planned. Yeah, that sucks. Where does he even keep his credit card, though? So, they were after my credit card. I should have known. These stupid gold diggers. Aren't you his girlfriend? You should know that. Ha! Please, as if I care about him. I'm only with him for his money. He's so stupid to trust me that easily. If only Natalie knew that I didn't care about her. Okay, whatever. Anyway, we need to get him drunk, though. Not so much that he passes out. That way we can get all his secrets out of him. It's my birthday next week. I think that would be the perfect occasion. We can work more on the plan by then. Okay, sounds good to me. Wow. Okay, so my sisters and girlfriend had fallen so low for money and my secrets that they were going to do such a despicable thing. I felt ashamed to be related to them in any way, but oh boy, it was not my choice. If I could, I would have gotten rid of them in an instant. But now, it was important for me to disable this plan of theirs. I was so going to give them a taste of their own medicine. I knew what I had to do. I wouldn't be the one telling my secrets. Instead, they would be exposing themselves at Kristen's birthday party. I already had a plan in my mind. And I couldn't wait to implement it. After that sleepover party, Natalie and Kristen were acting really strange, like, trying to be polite to me and stuff. It was really a pity how hard they were trying. I was desperately waiting for Kristen to announce her birthday party now, because then I could teach them a lesson once and for all. That birthday party was a whole disaster at another level. A lot of crazy things happened. I will keep you guys updated on the whole thing in a different video. What do you think of my crazy life story so far? Also, what would you have done if you were in my place? If you were in my place? If you were in my place? Hey everyone, it's Milton again. I promised to tell you all the second part of my story, which basically revolves around my plan. So, here I am. Before that, let me give you a brief summary of everything that's happened so far. My dad wanted a girl, so he raised me like one, making my childhood an absolute nightmare. When I was old enough, though, I rebelled and refused to listen to my dad. Both of my parents had it out against me since forever. My mom enrolled me in a different school where education quality was poor. She wanted to make me a failure in life. I jeopardized all their attempts, though, and self-studied, being careful to hide everything from my family. My efforts and hard work finally bore fruit, and I became a successful entrepreneur. Meanwhile, my family was under a lot of debt by now. So much so that they became homeless. Even though they had wronged me in every way, I took pity on them, and allowed them to move in with me. My life took a complete 180-degree turn when everyone found out how rich and successful I was now. I was suddenly very popular in my college, and with my family. Of course, my mother turned out to be a gold digger, asking me to pay for her stuff shamelessly. I bluntly refused her, though. My sisters, on the other hand, started doing weird things and creeped me out. I started fake dating Kristen, the most popular girl in the college, to keep my sisters at bay. Kristen is a heartbreaker, and dates guys for their money. Yeah, gold digger alert once again. I was at Kristen's house one day when I saw that she had received a text from my sister, Natalie. They were planning something for me and wanted me at their sleepover party. At the sleepover party, I pretended to pass out to hear their plan. They were talking about my credit card and getting my secrets out of me. They were going to do this by getting me drunk at Kristen's birthday. What they don't know is that I have a plan to outsmart them on this birthday, and expose them. Now, I hadn't vouched for Tina and Penny, my other two sisters, to be involved with Natalie. But then again, what else was I expecting? I should have seen it coming. All of them had teamed up against me, and had every intention to take me down. Too bad. I was a few steps ahead of them, and knew about their every move. Tina and I are in the same major, and thus we share the classes for our core subjects. Now, not to brag or anything, but I always used to score the highest in my class. All those years of self-studying were really paying. And I knew for a fact that Tina was flunking in most of the papers. But it was her fault, really. She was busy scheming and plotting behind my back, instead of studying. How could she score good grades? She came to me one day asking me the secret for my good grades. I rolled my eyes and told her that she had to study hard if she wanted that. But I heard that you have some really close connections with the professor, and he gives you the question papers in advance, she said hopefully. Wow, who was spreading such dumb rumors about me? They certainly had some creativity in them. Tina, I am on good terms with the professor, but trust me, he doesn't give me the question papers, I told her honestly. She left after sulking for a few minutes. But I did see her in the hallway talking to Natalie in hushed whispers. I rolled my eyes. But then I realized that they were probably planning something against me. I acted oblivious and passed them, taking a turn in the corner, and then pressed myself against the wall so that I was hidden from their view. It was the perfect angle to eavesdrop without getting caught, and luckily, there were no students around in the deserted corridor. He is definitely lying. There's no way that he is that smart, Natalie was saying. Did you see the arrogant look on his face as he passed just now? He was so looking down on us, Tina whispered, fuming. I had to control myself from snickering at their ridiculous conversation. He always does that, Tina, Natalie replied. That's why we have to get back at him. He doesn't deserve the fame and success. Right, Tina sighed. So, it's done then. Kristen will distract him tomorrow and call him out of the class. I will search his bags for the question paper, which I am pretty sure I will find. Then I will quickly take a picture and leave. He will never suspect a thing. So, this was what they were planning. I left the scene after hearing that because I couldn't tolerate any more of their stupid conversation. I really couldn't believe that they would fall so low. I didn't understand what their problem was, but they had messed with the wrong person. Oh, I was so going to give them the question paper. I went home and typed out a question paper. A paper which was full of questions that were least likely to be asked on our exam. And I carefully folded it and placed it inside my bag. It was such an evil thing to do, but my sisters were asking for it. As expected, Kristen texted me to meet her near the cafeteria. When I had a 5-minute break, I casually made my way outside, of course, leaving my bag behind. When I came back after tolerating Kristen and whatever nonsense she was spewing, I glanced towards Tina, who was sitting innocently in her place. I almost smirked, but then controlled myself and went to my seat. There were no traces of my bag being touched, or anything. And of course, if anyone had even seen Tina doing anything with my bag, they would have suspected her because she was my so-called sister. Anyway, next week our exams were conducted, and I was itching to see how Tina had performed on her papers. When the results were declared, the expression on Tina's face was worth watching. She had failed the test. I felt a bit bad for her, but it was not my fault that she didn't study the whole syllabus. She spotted me in the corridor crowd and walked towards me, looking like she would burst any moment. "You!" she yelled, grabbing my collar. "You did this, on purpose, didn't you?" I frowned. "I did what? What are you saying?" I was well aware of the fact that everyone was watching us, and now Tina was going to expose herself in front of the whole department. "I took the question paper from your bag! You did it to mess with me, didn't you?" she fumed. "You knew that I would only read the questions from that paper." "Listen to yourself," I replied, shaking my head. "First of all, I had already informed you that I didn't have any kind of question paper. And secondly, you stole from my bag. Whose fault is it?" She stumbled back, coming to the realization, and then glancing around at the crowd nervously. "You brought this upon yourself," I continued. "This is all on you, Tina." I walked away from there. After that incident, Tina was so humiliated that she stopped coming to college altogether, and she had to repeat the semester. Anyway, because of her low grades, or should I say, non-existent grades, she dropped out of college. Now, I really felt bad and guilty, even though technically it wasn't my fault. So I decided to do something for her. I enrolled her in one of the online courses on my website, and asked her to study from that medium until she had her act together and knew for certain what she wanted to do. She actually started crying and hugged me, thanking me over and over again. I really believed that she had learned her lesson now. That's why I decided to forgive her. And, ever since this incident, my relationship with Tina had been good. Now was the turn of my fake girlfriend Kristen, and my dearest sister Natalie. I really needed a break from these things, but these two just didn't understand. Kristen's birthday was around the corner, and she was making a really big deal out of it. Apparently she threw the best party every year to celebrate her birthday, and she wanted the same this year. For this, she approached me. "Please let me throw the party at your house," she pleaded. I really didn't want to say yes, but then I thought that it would be more convenient for me at my house, since I already had a vague idea about what they were planning, so I agreed with her. Before the day of the party, I did a few arrangements. Arrangements like setting up cameras in my room, especially at places where I used to keep my money. Credit cards, important files, documents and stuff. I could just have locked my precious stuff away, but then I would never have been able to expose Kristen and Natalie. On the day of the party, I was fully prepared. Kristen and Natalie had been fussing over me the whole time. Penny came to me with a drink, and I knew immediately that they had mixed something in the drink. I took the glass of drink and once again pretended to be actually drinking. Kristen and Natalie were hovering around me, not even leaving me for a second. It was really difficult to get rid of the drink with them around. A very unexpected person came to my rescue. Tina. Yup, that's right. I don't know if she did it on purpose or unconsciously, but she called Kristen and Natalie to the side for a few moments. And that was my cue to feed the glass of my drink to the plant that I had placed near the couch for my convenience. And now was the time to act. I began to stumble in my steps and slurred my words. Kristen and Natalie didn't even bother hiding the smirks on their faces. "Oh, Milton, you seem to be too drunk to function properly," Natalie feigned concern. "You should go to your room and rest," Kristen added, taking my hand. "I will help you take him." Natalie grabbed my other hand. I really wanted to roll my eyes at how hard they were trying. They dragged me to my room, and I played along. Once we were inside, they took their seats beside me on my bed. "Milton, do you know where you keep your credit cards?" Kristen asked, grabbing the opportunity. "I think we are short on drinks right now. Can I borrow some money? I'll return it afterwards." I knew this was going to happen. As I said, I was fully prepared this time. I will let you guys in on my plan. I had talked to the police before the party and told them all about what my sisters were planning, and everything. They told me that they couldn't really help me without any proof, so I had to collect the evidence first and then send them the footage. That's why I set up the cameras, to record everything that Kristen and Natalie were going to do. But this also meant that I had to play along till the end and let them do whatever they wanted to do. I couldn't let them catch my act before the time was up. As a precaution, I also installed a tracker on Kristen's car, because they were going to run away for sure. And then I could easily follow them along with the police and catch them red-handed. "Come on, Milton. Don't space out." Kristen's voice broke my thoughts. "I asked you something." I pretended to be losing consciousness and fell back on the bed. "Ugh, he's being tough in this state too," I heard Natalie groan. "What else do we need besides his credit cards?" Kristen asked her. "If we can get our hands on his company documents, that would be great," Natalie replied. "We could find a way to leech off him and would never have to worry about our finances ever. And we can also threaten him if we have this important paperwork," Kristen added in agreement. "This is such a foolproof plan. Ugh. We just need Milton to spill everything now." It started shaking me and made me sit up. I wanted nothing more than to shove them away and get out. But I had to expose them today. Such a nuisance they were. "Milton, come on. They are in your closet, right?" Kristen asked me. I nodded in a vague manner. "Let me go and see what I can find there." Natalie got up from the bed. I watched her making her way towards my closet and opening it. My eyes flickered towards the camera that I had placed in the perfect place to record her face and actions clearly. She started throwing out all my clothes and stuff from the closet in order to find my credit cards. I was seriously getting ticked off by the mess she was making. I had kept those cards in plain sight. How dumb was she? And why was she ruining my clothes and expensive watches? Why did she consider herself to be so entitled? Ugh, seriously. "Oh, found them," she suddenly exclaimed, and came to us with 3 credit cards in her hands. I almost gagged in disgust when I saw their eyes twinkling in greed. Ugh, what did I ever do to deserve such people in my life? Well, now I was going to get rid of them anyway. "Oh, wait, we have to know the passcode to access the cards, which only he can tell us," Kristen said, turning towards me. "Milton, what's the passcode?" she asked me slowly, as if she was talking to a child. "What passcode?" I slurred. "The code for your credit cards. What are they?" she repeated desperately. I slurred the numbers to them. Well, it's not like they would get the chance to use it anyway. And I was going to change all the codes as soon as the police caught them. Till then, if they did steal my money, they were just going to get deeper into trouble. I was going to extract every penny from them. "Oh, I also found the company documents." Kristen's voice came from where she was searching in the mess she had made again. "He and his company are nothing without these papers." Kristen nodded. "Our job is done here. Then let's get out before anyone comes and suspects us." She then turned to me with a smirk. "Thank you for everything, Milton. And I mean it. You've been of great help today. Just know that it was nothing personal. I had to do what I could to survive." This two-faced lying girl. Did she really think it was that easy to take me down? I watched as both of them hid my stuff in their bags and hastily made their way out of my room. I waited for a few minutes, making sure that they had really left before I stood up from the bed. I was about to fish out my phone and call the police when my bedroom door suddenly burst open and Natalie re-entered. I dropped to my bed in shock, then resumed my acting again. "I almost forgot to tell you something," Natalie said, coming closer to me. "You are not in your senses right now, so I don't know if you'll remember this or not." I was so confused. What was it that she wanted now? "Now that it's just the two of us, I have something to confess to you, dearest brother," she said in almost a sarcastic tone. Then she proceeded to whisper something in my ear. The things that she said, let's just say, they ruined my plans forever. My whole camera setup and police connection. Everything had failed by just the few words of confession from Natalie. I will tell you guys about what happened in a different video, if I do manage to make it out of this. Hey everyone, it's Milton again. This is my 3rd video where I will continue my story from the point I left off last time. If you remember, I told you that I was going to catch my sisters and my so-called fake girlfriend Kristen red-handed during the birthday party. I was pretending to be drunk and going along with their plan.
I even let them steal my cards and stuff, and gave them my passcode. They were leaving, and I was about to call the police, when suddenly, Natalie came back to my room. I quickly stumbled towards the bed and pretended to be passed out. I heard some shuffling and felt Natalie's presence beside me. She leaned down to my ear to whisper, "I know that you hate us, and think that we don't deserve to be called your family, but trust me, Milton, we genuinely care for you. I know, I did. It's just that your success got to our heads, and I couldn't tolerate seeing you acting all arrogant with us. But in the end, deep down, I still care about you. Anyway, you're not going to remember any of this tomorrow, but I just had to get it off my chest. Goodbye, Milton. Take care." She then placed a kiss on my cheek that almost made me shriek and blow my cover. And after that, she left, leaving me in complete shock. As soon as she was out, I waited for a few minutes to make sure that she had really left this time. Then I quickly got up and instinctively, my hand reached towards the phone to dial the police. But something made me pause. Natalie's words kept ringing in my mind. She cared about me? What kind of crap was that? Did she really think I would believe her after she took all my credit cards and bank account details? But she had no reason to say that to me, while she believed that I was unconscious. For her, I was not going to remember any of it. So could it be that she was being honest with me? I thought about it. She was my sister after all. It was not like it would make me happy to ruin her life and send her to jail. I knew I would regret it later. Ugh! I didn't have time for all these second thoughts. I had to make a quick decision. So without wasting any time, the first thing I did was transfer all my money from my original bank account to a different one, which I had just for emergency situations like this. At least my money was safe now. They wouldn't be able to withdraw even $1 using my credit cards because of insufficient balance. Now this also gave me more time to think. Should I report them to the police? Or not? To be honest, it felt like they were doing everything because they couldn't digest my success. And come to think of it, they were after my money. So, what if I got rid of the root cause? That is, my wealth. I mean, of course I wouldn't really do that, but what if I made them believe that my company was not doing well and I had lost all my money in order to make it up to the investors? It would be hard to pull off, but I could give it a try. So, I braced myself. My plan was all set now. I knew that they would return in an hour or two after finding out that there was no balance in my bank account. I just lied down on my bed, waiting for them. Oh, and before that, I removed all the cameras and hid in a safe place. I wasn't going to use the evidence now, but I decided to save it. What if I needed it in the future? You never know with my crazy sisters. As I had predicted, they returned after an hour and barged into my room. "Milton, what the heck?" Kristen exclaimed, tossing all the cards beside me. "Why were we not able to make any kind of transaction, Milton? What did you do?" Natalie roared. "Just when I started feeling bad for you, you went ahead and did this." "What do you mean, started feeling bad for him?" Kristen narrowed her eyes at Natalie. "Don't tell me that you did something dumb and ruined our plan, because I swear, if you did, then I'm going to—" "Why are the two of you yelling? I have a headache," I groaned from my position on the bed. "Oh, right. He's not in his right senses," Kristen sighed. "He won't be able to tell us right now. He freaking told us his card pin in this condition. Why do you think he won't be able to tell us?" Natalie protested. "If you want to get the truth out of him, this is the only way. It will be really difficult when he is sober again." I had a strong urge to roll my eyes at this stupid conversation that both of them were having in front of a supposedly passed-out man. How inconsiderate. And I was not lying when I said that they were giving me a headache. Even their voices were plain annoying to me. "Right. Milton," Kristen started sweetly, sitting down beside me. "Did you give me the wrong passcode for your credit cards? Why didn't it work? Did you get the cards blocked?" "Are you stupid?" Natalie cut in. "It clearly showed that the balance was insufficient. That means neither the passcode was wrong, nor the card was blocked. Please use your brains." Natalie needed to decide whose side she was on. She constantly doubted me, yet she kept on insulting Kristen. Just how fickle-minded was this girl? Kristen glared at Natalie. If you are so smart, then why did you insist on coming back here and asking Milton? You have it already figured out, then why are you wasting our time? But he still needs to tell us where did all the balance from his bank account go, Natalie said. This was my cue to start acting. Please stop talking about money, I said somberly, sitting up straight. Both of them glanced at me in shock. Milton! What happened? Why do you sound so upset? Kristen asked hesitantly. Didn't you like bragging about your money? Natalie added. What the heck? When did I ever brag about my money? Was this girl delusional or what? Did she imagine things? Oh, God. She probably was so salty about my wealth that she formed twisted scenarios in her head where I apparently bragged about my money. Seriously? Well, now I knew why she hated me that much. She had created a false image of me. In her mind, and all of this, after I gave her a home to live in and paid for all of her expenses. Milton may be arrogant, but he never bragged or looked down upon us, Kristen corrected Natalie. Natalie rolled her eyes. How much do you even know about him? He is my brother. I know what kind of person he is. You should know your place as his fake girlfriend. I mentally facepalmed. I was going to lose my brain cells at this rate. Why are you two fighting? I clutched my hair, trying to appear frustrated. Trust me, I didn't have to try much. They had already frustrated me enough. Why are you talking about money? I told you to stop. There's no money. Everything's gone. The company, the money, everything. Kristen's and Natalie's faces seemed like someone told them that they could no longer breathe. But then again, money was like oxygen to them, so this was expected. Milton, what are you saying? Kristen shrieked. Wait, is he probably just saying nonsense because he's drunk? Right, Milton? Natalie coaxed. Kristen gave her an incredulous look. Didn't you say yourself that he will say only the truth in this state? Why do you keep contradicting yourself? I glanced at both of them. I thought you guys already knew. My company incurred huge losses and I had to pay back all the investors using whatever money I had. What the heck? Is that true? Natalie asked with widening eyes. He can't be making up such a big lie, Natalie, Kristen said. You shouldn't be ashamed that you are his sister and you didn't know any of this. You put me in danger by making this stupid plan that could have sent us to jail. How was I supposed to know? Natalie asked incredulously. He never tells me anything. I can't freaking read his mind, you know. Didn't you just say that you knew him the best, though? Kristen argued. Why do you keep going back on your words? There they go again. To be honest, they made the worst team in the world. They didn't even trust each other and kept on insulting each other at every given opportunity. How do they expect that they could efficiently work together? They were doomed from the beginning. Is there any use of even talking about any of it anymore? Natalie finally said. We were too late. He doesn't even have a penny now. He's useless. That's right. I can't keep on dating him, Kristen said before turning to me. Sorry, Milton, but I'm breaking up with you. Good luck finding a girlfriend with an empty bank account. Yeah, good riddance. I had tolerated her enough. Thank God I have some savings for such emergencies, Natalie said. I will now have to find a rich boyfriend with whom I can move in. Penny's already doing part-time work, so she will survive. Tina will have to fend for herself. I don't know about Mom and Dad. They will probably have to find jobs, too. If you have anything to spare, then please pay my debts, I pleaded, enjoying the heck out of this situation. Ew, shut up, Natalie made a disgusted face. How can you be so shameless? And I'm going to rely on someone else myself. Don't ask me for money. Why don't you work too? Kristen asked her. Why do you always use boys for their money? This screams gold digger. Natalie scoffed. Look who's speaking. As far as I'm aware, you do the same thing. In fact, you were dating my brother for his money too. Who's the gold digger now, huh? Did they seriously have to do this in my room? Right in front of me? Whatever. At least I don't backstab my own family members, Kristen said. You plotted against your own brother. That's just pathetic. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I agreed with Kristen for the first time in my life. But that didn't mean Kristen was any less pathetic. Both of them were equally at fault, and no excuse could justify their actions. After arguing for some more time and increasing my headache, both of them left, and I could finally breathe in relief. Wow, I had shot 2 birds with 1 arrow. Not only did I fool them, but I also got rid of them forever. I was pretty sure that they would never bother me again, because I had nothing that could interest them. After that incident, everything grew quite peaceful for me. My family moved out of my house because they thought that I couldn't pay for them anymore and would leech off of them instead. Tina found herself a job too and moved out, wishing me good luck. She said that it was high time for her to become independent. I was honestly happy for her and how far she had come just in a matter of a few months. I remained only in touch with Tina after that. I had no idea what the rest of my family was doing, except for Natalie and Penny. Unfortunately, they were in my college and I had to cross paths with them oftentimes. They pretended like I was a stranger, and I gladly returned the favor. My reputation in college had gone down already because of them. They spread the rumor about me losing all my money and going bankrupt. Now, everyone who used to associate with me because of my wealth kept their distance from me. Seriously, I was happy with all this. I was so done with fake people. I needed only genuine ones in my life now. But I was starting to doubt that I would even get a girlfriend when everyone thought I didn't even have a single penny on me. Then again, it was better this way. I didn't need another gold digger like Kristen. At least now I would know when a girl would approach me for my personality and not my financial status. And it happened sooner than I had expected. There was this girl in my class whose name was Melissa. I had never really talked to her, but we were grouped by a professor for an assignment. The other group members were really wary of me and tried to avoid me as much as possible. Melissa was the only one who used to talk to me, asking me for my opinion on this and that, and acknowledging my input. It was quite surprising, honestly, because as far as I was aware, Melissa was from a really well-off family, and she was popular on the campus too. I'd expected her to be stiff and arrogant, but the case was opposite. I really regretted that I judged her like that. She was really outgoing and humble in nature. One day, she saw me sitting all by myself in one of those campus benches where students usually hang out. "Hey, Milton, what are you doing here all alone?" she asked me with a smile, occupying the space beside me. "Well, I wanted to eat in peace. The cafeteria was really noisy and everyone was glaring at me as if I had just returned from jail or something," I replied. She gave me an apologetic look. "People can be so mean sometimes. Why can't they just mind their own business and let you be? Ugh, this kind of stuff really frustrates me." "Well, yeah, that's their job," I joked. "Meddling in everyone's business, and if you're lucky enough, and they see any kind of personal gain from you, they will go all sorts of lengths to get on your good side." She chuckled. "Have you always been this straightforward?" I shrugged. "What's the point of beating around the bush? We have enough people for doing that." "Wow, I really like your attitude," she said, still laughing. "Not to mention you are really smart and excel at academics, too." I scratched the side of my neck. No, I'm not really smart. I just work quite hard to score good grades." "That's a good thing, too," she smiled. "I can't believe that they judge you and talk about you behind your back. You're such a good person." "Doesn't it bother you?" I uttered curiously. "That I have no money? Nothing valuable? I've always wondered why you were so nice to me." She looked down at her lap. "Name and fame doesn't matter in the long run. I have seen my family breaking because of money, and misunderstandings caused by it. My mom and dad are both suffering because of it, and I only have my brother now who looks after our business and takes care of everything. He has become such a workaholic and doesn't have time for me now. So yeah, in the end, I have kind of lost everything, thanks to everyone's obsession with money. I know that only genuine feelings can provide you with happiness. I never thought that I would meet a person with whom I could relate so much. Maybe this was why I liked Melissa's nature." After that, we talked for a few more minutes, and then went our separate ways. But this was just the beginning of our journey. Melissa and I had bonded really well that day, and every day, we started hanging out together. It didn't take long for us to fall for each other and start dating. Everyone seemed quite shocked by this, because Melissa The heir of a rich family was supposedly dating a penniless man like me. And, of course, my so-called sisters and my fake ex just had to interfere in my life. Melissa and I were in the cafeteria one day when Natalie, Penny, and Kristen walked towards us. "Can we sit here?" Natalie asked, pointing towards the empty chairs. "No," I simply replied. They sat down anyway. Seriously, why did they even ask then? Hi, I'm Kristen. You might know me," Kristen said to Melissa. Melissa frowned. "No, I've seen you for the first time today," Kristen gasped. "I'm pretty popular in the campus. How do you not know me?" "You're kidding, right?" "Well, I have better things to do," Melissa shrugged, taking a bite out of her burger. I almost laughed at the whole scenario. Melissa was so good at messing with them. I'd already told her everything about my sisters and Kristen. She knew what kind of people they were. The only thing I had hidden from Melissa was the truth about my company and wealth. She was under the impression that I had really lost all my money. I wanted to tell her everything, but I needed a right time for it. I mean, I had trust issues and I just couldn't blow my cover until I was completely sure. "I will get straight to the point," Penny said, bringing me out of my thoughts. "Why are you dating him?" She pointed in my direction. "When you can get better guys." "I don't see how that's any of your business," Melissa replied. "It is!" Natalie exclaimed. "He's our brother and we know him. We don't want you to ruin your life. Why don't you join our group instead? We'll have a lot of fun together. I have heard that your family owns a—" "Excuse me!" Melissa cut her off. "Stop talking about my boyfriend like that. And if you really know him so well and he is your brother, as you claim, why don't you do him a favor and help him out with his remaining debts? He bore your expenses for so long, right? It's only fitting that you should pay him back." The looks on my sisters' faces were priceless. Their jaws were hanging open. Kristen quickly excused herself, pretending to be on a phone, and ran away. Meanwhile, Natalie and Penny took some time to recover from the burn. And then, they scurried away too. Melissa and I had one heck of a time making fun of them once they left. Frankly, they deserved it. Even now, when they had broken all ties with me, they still wanted to ruin my happiness. Just when I thought that they had already fallen low enough, they proved me wrong. Those girls had no limits. A few peaceful weeks passed after that, and I was spending some of the best moments of my life with Melissa. Amidst all this, I got a call from one of my best business partners, James. He was hosting a party at a club and wanted me to come too. I agreed instantly, only if I knew at that moment that this party was going to be straight out of a nightmare. I went to the club and was momentarily lost because it was so crowded. I couldn't spot James anywhere. That's when one of the bartenders came to my rescue and guided me to where James was sitting around a table with a bunch of ladies. I couldn't make out their faces because of the dark. James came up to me and greeted me with much enthusiasm. "Milton, how are you doing these days? It's been so long since we met outside office," he shouted over the music. I nodded. "I'm doing better than ever. What about you? I heard that the latest investments brought you really big profits." "Oh yeah, all thanks to my sister," he laughed. "She pretends to be not interested in business matters, yet she gives me the best advices sometimes. That investment was her idea." "You have a sister?" I frowned. "I didn't know." He rolled his eyes. "How would you? You never came to any of the dinners I invited you to. You should meet my sister. She's as smart as you. It would be so great if someone could convince her to just join the company. She will make really huge profits." "Well, that's her decision," I said. "You can't force her to do anything." "Ah, no need to get serious." He patted my back. "Come on, man, this is a party. Let's enjoy. I'll introduce you to some of my friends. Come on." I really wasn't keen on meeting these friends of his. I wanted to get this over with and just go back home. These kinds of parties were really not my scene. Besides, I had only bad experiences when it came to parties. I sighed. My sisters had really ruined parties for me. James dragged me towards the table he was sitting at earlier, and pointed towards the girls seated there. I still couldn't make out their faces properly, but they seemed a bit familiar to me. "Girls, meet Milton. He is one of my richest business partners. His annual turnover is in millions, yet he is the most down-to-earth person I know." Then James pointed towards those girls and turned to me. "Milton, meet Natalie and Kristen. I met them through mutual friends. They're really fun to hang out with. I'm sure that I must have become as pale as a ghost at that moment. I could suddenly make out Natalie and Kristen's faces perfectly. Now that I knew who they were, they stood up in shock too. What the heck? Milton? Kristen came forward to examine my face. What did you say, James? He's your richest business partner? Natalie asked in shock. Oh yeah, why are y'all so surprised? He's well known around the city. It's nothing surprising, to be honest, James said, completely oblivious of what was going on. Wait, you must have been mistaken, Kristen said to James. He is probably not the person you were talking about. Yes, I think you had a little too much to drink, James, Natalie said. Go and take a break. What? James turned to me. Milton, tell them that I am saying the truth. Why are they behaving like this? I opened my mouth, but no words came out. What could I say now? My cover was entirely blown now. Man, I never should have come to this party. There was no way of getting out of this situation now. Oh, hey, wait a second, James suddenly said. That's my sister. Let me get her. James went towards where people were dancing and came back with another familiar person. I stumbled back in shock when I realized that Melissa was James's sister. She seemed equally shocked to see me, but then she smiled. Milton, what a coincidence! She came to my side. Why didn't you tell me you were coming to this party? Do you know each other? James asked, pointing between the two of us. Oh yeah, we're dating. We go to the same college, Melissa replied happily. What a joke, Natalie scoffed. Milton, did you lie to her too? Or does she know the truth? Natalie, we don't know for sure that Milton really is rich. Don't trust James, Kristen said. Melissa glanced around in confusion. What's going on? Milton, can you please tell us? James asked me sternly. Why are these two girls accusing you of lying? I took a deep breath. The truth is that Natalie is my sister, and Kristen is my ex-girlfriend. I lied to them about my company to get rid of them. I told them that I had lost all my money, but that is far from the truth. Melissa dropped my hand in shock and stepped away from me. What the? Why would you lie to your own sister? James asked. You freaking lied to me, too, Melissa yelled. Why? I thought that you were honest to each other. Why would you do that, Milton? Look, Melissa, I started, but Natalie cut me off. I will tell you why, Melissa, she said, shaking her head. He probably thought you were a gold digger and wanted to keep you away from his money. He does that, you see. He did the same thing to Kristen when they were dating. Kristen played along, nodding. That's true. He can never have true feelings for anyone. He sees the whole world as some place full of gold diggers. He was just using you to pass his time. I reached towards Melissa, but she held up a hand. My heart hurt when I saw her crying. You probably had a lot of fun, Milton, she said. All this time I was oblivious to your reality, and you were probably laughing at me. After all, you are no different than your sisters, right? You use people for your entertainment. Wow, I can't believe that I actually trusted you. Melissa, why are you crying? James asked her. Did Milton do something to you? Tell me. I will take care of it. Melissa shook her head. Just cut off all your business ties with him. He's a lying, deceiving jerk. Don't ever trust him. Melissa, please, I begged. Please give me a chance to explain. It's not what you think. They're lying. They're turning you against me. And why should I believe you? Melissa asked furiously. You are no better than them. You are a liar too. All this time you were dissing your sisters when you are the same. Don't ever show me your face again. Milton, please leave, James said seriously. I don't like seeing my sister upset. Please leave before I do something I regret. Oh, and as of now, all our business deals are terminated. I don't ever want to do anything with you or your company again. I didn't even know what to feel at that moment. I'd lost my girlfriend. Someone I really loved and adored because of a misunderstanding. And I had lost my biggest business partner. It was surely going to hit my company. I was surely not bankrupt before, but now I was on the verge of it, because losing the deals with James's company meant a huge loss for me. Great. Just great! I think I had hit the rock bottom now. I looked up to glance at Natalie, who was giving me a smirk. "You had that coming, Milton," she said. "You should have thought before lying to us. Now suffer. You deserve this." "I will say this is too easy, in fact," Kristen added. "You deserve worse. You are such a lying, scheming, deceiving jerk. You played such elaborate tricks on us. Did you really think that you could get away with it and live your life happily ever after? Too bad that karma came back to bite you." I couldn't take it anymore. There was a breaking point to everything, and I had reached mine. There was only so much that I could take. I just turned around and got out of the club before I did something bad. I had lost everything within a matter of minutes. My sisters had successfully been able to ruin me. I hated this. I couldn't let them win. I had to do something about him. But I didn't know what. I had no direction now. It felt like I was completely lost now, and there was no one by my side to help me. That's all for my story for now. Let me know if you guys would like to know what happened next.